Hello, everybody. We're talking Venus. Venus in the sign of Aries. And it's not an ordinary Venus, the goddess of love and beauty and peace and friendship and kindness and money, moving through Aries, which is going to be a big story this time around because it's including retrogradation from the 10th degree of Aries. And it includes a kind of cycle for Venus that we haven't actually seen in our sky since 2017, March, April, May. So in this regard, we're kind of time traveling a little bit backwards so that we can make some comparisons and ask ourselves, how in our life does this remind me of just like when, just like back in the spring of 2017? You see, astrology is about cycles that repeat, rinse and repeat, but they're always a bit different. Nothing is exactly ever quite the same. So we're going to drop into the Venus story here today. We'll be together for probably 90 minutes. This is about your sign. This is about your sign and how to use this Venus in Aries and what she's up to. She's a tomboy. She's a biker chick. She's got her, masculine mojo in Mars's sign, and Mars is telling her what to do. He's the boss of her, and he's in the sign of Cancer. So we're going to be tying in the Cancer and the Aries part of our stories in your sign, in your whole sign house system sky. You're going to listen today for your sun. That could be career and purpose, your moon. It could be home and how you feel about life, your rising sign, everything about you, the avatar in the simulation called life. So try listening for all three. Certainly your sun sign and rising are accurate. I find as I get older, I'm acting more from my solar essence, my sun sign. I don't know about you, which is my deeper core essential nature or my soul. And the avatar, the Aquarian being, is secondary. But they both are relevant and they both display elements of my life unfolding in tandem. Now I'm on vacation in Mexico, so welcome to my little pad here in Mexico. I'm in Puerto Vallarta. And if you're new to my channel, I am Lori Lothian. I'm using the Western tropical zodiac whole sign houses, fixed stars, of course, and those minor asteroids are always the devil is in the detail. Now, today's video is really just about how to handle this transit. And I'm going to be showing you some screenshotables to keep a handy cheat sheet for yourself of the energy of Venus as she moves through the sign of Aries, because she will also be then heading into Pisces, hanging out there, and then coming back to Aries for almost all of May into June. So there's a lot of information here. When she heads retrograde on March the 22nd at 2 degrees, that's her star point. When she heads retrograde on March the 1st at 2 degrees, March the 1st, forget the degree. When she heads retrograde at 10 degrees of Aries on March the 1st, okay, I will have a very big video out for that. Okay, so stay tuned. But more than that, if you'd like to study with me or learn how to use this particular retrograde and journey along the way every single week with me and other students and other astro-curious folk, I'm going to be teaching a class. And it's not just a class, it's a participatory mode. We're going to be guided meditations. We're going to hook into the sky. We're going to share each of our experiences in a private group about how it's going for us. A little Facebook group, it's optional, but it's weekly live Zoom calls. And if you want to get on that class with me, it's very affordable. 6 weeks long, 6 weeks of the retrograde, 40 days and 40 nights. She goes backwards into the zodiac. We're going to cover that story together. So just check it out below. In my description box, you might notice there's under the more button, everything about me, but near the top of that, and I'll try to pin it to the comments here, is a link for the early bird discount notice. And the reason that is I haven't created the web page. I haven't done the checkout page yet. I'm on vacation. I'm recording this on January 29th. Patreon gets this early access ad free. And so if you want to get on the wait list, you'll get an email from me that allows you to get a discount price for the 6 weeks together live with me. Replays will be available if you can't attend live. And there you go. Okay, so check it out below. So let me show you a screenshot of something. But before I do that, let me just give you the verbal lay of some of the issues here. Venus is going to be besieged, or not really, enclosed between Saturn and the North Node, which could be a malefic enclosure. It's dubious. I'm tracking it. I'm watching what happens. But that enclosure, February 20th to February 1st, 2nd, the first 7 days of April, and then again, April 24th. Okay, all of those dates I just gave you are a sub-story to the Venus and Aries story. And it's almost like liberate, break free. Venus wants to be out of the constriction of Saturn rules and regulations and caution and over. She's exalted. She's at her highest form, higher love, pure love, sacred love, divine beauty, ecstatic states of wonder and awe, rainbows and unicorns in Pisces, Jupiter sign. And then she's got the North Node on the other side of her, kind of like hemmed in between two very intense energies. So there are going to be times in this whole Aries story where she breaks free, but she's breaking free in Pisces. And so why is this a complicated narrative? Is that if you go back to 2017, I say just like March, April, May of 2017, it is and it isn't. What's similar to that time frame is that as she was retrograding from Aries, she was also connecting to as much time in Pisces as she is in Aries. She's basically, it's crazy. She's spending all of her time in Pisces, Aries, Pisces, and Aries, Pisces, and Aries because of the situation of the retrograde. So we're having a kind of a whole like February, March, April, May in 2017, and this time around, where she's in Pisces, Aries, Pisces, Aries. It's a lot of time in only two signs of your zodiac. And so I would still suggest you go back to 2017, but what's exquisitely different this time is that we have the North Node there. So back in the day, we had the North Node in another place. Can't remember 2017, but now we have the North Node of fate and destiny in Pisces. We have Neptune there like we did in 2017. The new character on the stage here is the node of destiny where eclipses are happening, where we had an eclipse in September 18th, 2024, where we continue to have eclipses in the spring and fall of 25. So she's very much in a kind of a wave of energy that has to do with the word fate or destiny or, you know, things that are going to roll along with her without our complicity, right? Like the universe has a plan and we're just going along for the old ride. And so that's what makes this very different. And for Venus, the North Node, and Neptune to all be together in Pisces happened last this way in 1858. And then when this happened, they weren't all exactly co-joining as they have just recently done or will have when you listen to this video on February 1st, 2nd, 3rd, Venus, North Node, Pisces, Venus, Neptune, North Node in Pisces co-joined perfectly at 28 degrees. That hasn't happened in our lifetimes. It didn't quite happen that way in 1858, but in 1858, they were all together and they were still in a broad triple conjunction. So what's so special is the rarity of our sky. And Venus going into Aries is important. Venus in Aries is telling us also about what she was learning in the sign before, Venus in Pisces with that rare destined triple conjunction. Venus asks us, what do we desire truly to have? She's a part of the I have house. I have love. I have beauty. I have kindness. I have money. I have friendship. I have a house. I have. But in order to have, you must desire, right? You must conjure desire. Mars acts on and decides and cuts and severs and ends. Mars is about directions, but Venus is about unity. Mars is about separation. Venus is about, I want to bring into me. I want to receive. I want to have. Mars can actually be very much the opposite. I want to repel. I want to push away. I want to, separate. A decision for Mars is a separation. Why am I talking about Mars? Because Mars is the boss of Venus. I called her a biker chick. I called her a tomboy. She's definitely very Iron Maiden. She's like a Margaret Thatcher archetype. She's a very masculine, feminine. She's a feminine energy, not a female, a feminine energy, a yin energy in a masculine sign. And Mars in Cancer is having to boss her around, and he's not doing so well. He's in the temple of the moon where he's trying his best to find his emotional stability, and he's out of bounds, and he's trying to tell Venus how to best behave in his Aries kingdom. It's a story. I'm going to share with you a chart. And before I do share it, get a pen or paper, and I'm going to do your sign, I promise. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Please, I'm trying to reach 100,000 subscribers. Pretty, please. I'm recording on January 29th, and I'm getting close to 99,000. So I was like so excited. Venus will be in the sign of Aries, right? As I said, for a very, very long time. But she's also going to be an evening star until she is coming outside the other end of the retrograde and the Venus star point. And the Venus star point means she joins the sun on March the 22nd in a conjunction. She did this also in the spring of 2021 and the spring of 2017. The difference between 17 and 21 is that she's retrograde, and she's a dark, and she's in the invisible realms, and she's going backwards for 40 days, and she's between the earth and the sun. Whereas in 2021, she was on the other side of the sun. And this is a different story. This is called a superior conjunction, but she's in her inferior conjunction, again, like in 2017, which she does every 8 years. We're going to run out of Aries runway in about 12 years. We no longer have any Venus and Aries sun conjunctions. We'll move into Pisces, which is going to be an exciting era for humanity. A very beautiful an era of beauty, art, and is almost Hellenistic, exalted beauty. Maybe AI lets everyone retire and do creativity and find their purpose, but we're moving into a new era. So Venus kept co-joining for the last 100 and something odd years in Aries. The Aries is a sign of war, and she's not very comfortable there. So it's not been her best place. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up, she's an evening star. Go look at her in the sky after the sun is setting. She's a bright, twinkly diamond. Evening stars are soft, receptive, demure. They are the flower that draws in the bees to pollinate. It's the energy of that very soft, very feminine Venus. But she will change, because when she comes out the other end of her star point and becomes visible, she will be a morning star, more chutzpah, more ball busting, more warrior-like, more fierce, more getting what she wants, a go-getter. And so that means that all of us will feel a new version of her, but that's going to be in my class. So stay tuned for that. I'm going to show you a chart, and I'm going to give you some dates. The chart is important. It's a screenshotable. The dates I'm going to give you right now. Venus will travel the sign of Aries from February the 4th to March the 1st. On March the 1st, okay? Well, not, sorry, let me get that right. Venus will travel the sign of Aries. She'll travel the sign of Aries February 4th to March the 1st in direct motion. Then from 10 degrees of Aries, she will begin her retrogradation. And then on March the 27th, she slides into the sign of Pisces. So in essence, February 4th to March the 27th, Venus is in Aries. She is definitely kicking up a lot of stormy dust in the sign of Aries. On April the 13th, she will head into direct motion in the sign of Pisces. And on April 30th, she will enter Aries yet again and be there until June the 5th. So in essence, we have April 30th to June the 5th. We have not a normal Venus, but a ball busting, go-getter, feisty, fierce Venus in the sign of her morning star iteration. She's a different type of Venus, just starting out. April 30th to June the 5th in Aries, a sign of war. That may not bode so well for world peace, but we'll see. I'll do other stuff on that. But when we go back and we look at the first half of that, February 4th to March 27th, she is the evening star, and she is moving through Aries. So think about it just for a second. I just want you to think about how this feels. Basically, all of February into the third week or the end of March, March 27th, Venus in Aries. And then we do it again, holy man, she's going to be back April 30th to June the 5th. So are you in Aries? Sun, moon, or rising? If you are, you're really feeling it, like you did in 2017. Capricorn, sun, moon, and rising. Cancer, sun, moon, and rising. Libra, sun, moon, and rising. Why am I focused on you? You're angular. You're at the crosshairs. You're 180 or 90 degrees away from this. So Aries, sun, moon, and rising. Libra, sun, moon, and rising. Cancer and Capricorn especially feel this energy as strongly pushing them into new vistas of life, a strong shift of what you want to have, of what you desire to have, of what you truly value in life. It's changing dramatically for those cardinal signs, okay? Fire signs, Sag and Leo, it's changing too in a harmonious, flowing way that you enjoy the ride. You're like, give it to me, man. I'll take this ride any old day. Feels good. What about Aquariuses? You are sextiling this changing of the guard in Aries, and you're also like, this doesn't feel too shabby, kind of liking it. Same with the Gemini sextile, this change. Okay, so all of these signs I mentioned have different responses to this narrative. Now, in astrology, ancient tradition, there's something called the aversion, which is an inconjunct or a semi-sextile away. And so those signs may not feel too much energy coming off of it from the Aries part of the story in particular, all right? Qualifier Pisces, right? Pisces, you are sextile to Aries, but you are also having so much Venus activation that I'm not going to include you. It's back and forth between your Pisces and your Aries storylines. Taurus is ho hum, it's happening there. You're not as invested. It's not as intense. It's not, the biggest thing that's ever happened to you. You're on the other side of Aries. It ain't the biggest deal of all. Similarly, for the Virgos, you're in conjunct or 150 degrees away, and not a big deal. And same with the Scorpio. So Scorpios and Virgos and maybe Tauruses are not like having their world so rocked. I'll go back to 2017 and tell me if that's true. Take a screenshot before we get to the all signs. It can be useful. I love giving you the screenshots. Let me get that screenshot on my device here. All right, so we're going to look at the chart, and here we have the Venus retrograde cycle and the pre-shadow period. And this is just a handy tool for you to keep track of the basics. You may want to do a little screenshot or not. It's up to you guys. But on January 28th, which is on the day before I recorded this, I'm on the 29th now, Venus entered the retro, and my community at Patreon gets this today or tomorrow, early access ad free. So on January 28th, Venus enters the retrograde pre-shadow zone. And what means that simply is that she is going to be at 24 degrees of Pisces and 37 minutes on January 28th. And that's going to be a critical degree representing where she is already in the zone of what we call the retrograde shadow. And you'll see why as we go through this. So things that are happening now, even though we don't have Venus fully in Aries till the 4th, the retrograde cycle has begun to be felt by us. On March the 1st, Venus will station, and turn retrograde at 10 degrees of Aries, almost 11. And I want to say, if you have any planets at 10 Aries, and I'm going to give you 3 degrees on either side, 6 to 13. So I have my moon here at 8 degrees or 7 degrees. It's important. Why is it important? Because it's strangely a very hyper vigilant degree, because she will pause there from February 23rd to March the 8th. I mean, in other words, she sits at that 10 degrees for almost 2 weeks, February 23rd to March the 8th, sort of boring down or drilling down into that degree where my Aries moon sits, right? So what sits at that degree in your chart? If anything, any planet that sits around that degree, 10 Aries, 3 degrees on either side, even if it's not your sun, moon, and rising sign, don't ask me in the comments to explain it to you. That's an astrology reading, but it literally will be a planet that's getting extremely activated by Venus as she pauses on that degree in order to turn around and move in another direction. So in this case, she's stationing to go retrograde, or apparent backward motion from our position on Earth. Of course, she's not really going backwards. On April the 12th, Venus will station and turn direct at 24 degrees of Pisces. 12, 13 depends, the 12th, 13th, depending on your time zone, but you get the gist. So now she's going to pause, and she's going to bake herself in for a few days at the 24 Pisces degree. Notice that 24 Pisces is what we call the pre-shadow, because she was at that degree and she's going back to that degree. And so there's areas of our sky that have to be readdressed, and it is relevant to matters of time. When you're sitting around on April the 12th and she's stationing at 24 Pisces, you may very well have themes that were ongoing around January 28th, returning for a revisit and a redo or a reconsideration. Now, on May the 16th, Venus will leave her retrograde zone. She's clear of the shadow as she breaks free of the 10 degrees Aries mark. But of course, that means that things that are happening in May, on the May 16th, 2025, around that time, are going to also harken back to things that were happening around March the 1st, or in this case, February 23rd to March the 8th, when she was stationed at 10 degrees. So, you can look at these timelines reconnecting, and you'll know this. You'll get to March 16th and you'll go, oh my God, this is just like it was happening May 16th. And you'll go, this is what was happening close to March the 1st. You'll be able to connect those dots, which is why this is a handy chart. And I suggest you do a screenshot of it. Now, let's go ahead and do all signs. We will start with Aries, who are number one all of the time. Okay, guys, let's get this going. I got such frizzy hair. This is my hair. It's very curly when it's in like a nice environment with soft water and etc. Okay, so here we have it. She says it's a very Venus comment, isn't it? Tell you about how my hair looks normally. Okay, so here we go. Let's talk about you guys. This is, I think we're going to go 45 minutes into this and then we're going to be done your sign. So Aries, you guys got a story going on for sure. I want you to go back to 2017. It would be like the same vibe, really, February through to May, with all this back and forth between your 12th house and your first house as Venus travels through here. And I've given you the dates in the beginning. Please go watch the beginning of the video. I'm not going to repeat every date of her transit through Aries, but just understand she's here for a dog's age, right? So Venus will be coming through the sign of Aries, and there's retrogrades, and it's busy. Go watch the intro. But she will be moving through the sign of Aries for an extraordinary long time. As I already mentioned, she'll be here from February 4th until March 27th. And then she'll come back again for a round two, but she'll be a different kind of Venus. She'll be more of a go-getter, morning star, and she'll be back again, as I mentioned, April 30th to June the 5th. So those are your dates. February 4th to March 27th, April 30th to June the 5th. More importantly than the exact dates is a situation of this kind of echo chamber from the past. And it's asking you to really dive, Venus is deeply dive into a sort of soul place because of her spending so much time in Pisces between, this and that. It's like your Akashic records, your childhood wounds, your vows of chastity and your vows of poverty and all these other kinds of family constellation work, past life regression, understanding your soul at a much deeper layer and level. And then also from that understanding, asking yourself what it is you wish to have in your life, what you want, what you truly desire. And, I will give me as an Aries sun and moon example. 2017, February through to May, I ended up going to Bali and taking a course with a woman end of May about going into my history of my family and even past life content to extricate and exorcise from my life this thing that I had a compromised belief system around being wealthy. I can have riches. I can have money. And that was something that turned a corner for me in 2017. I began to make money for the very first time in my life online. And I began to make money, period. I'd always been in situations where I had a hard time getting a job, keeping a job because I had a weird visa in the United States that no one could hire me under. And then I had to have, a secret life, which I started doing psychic readings on the side, and things were complicated. And so I kind of went through my adult female years here, raising kids, being more of a housewife than I ever wanted to be, and not really finding my calling or the way to have wealth through my own ingenuity. And now that's completely resolved. In fact, this is 8 years ago. And I was just listening to Chani on her app this morning. I love Chani. I'm not as politically super woke as Chani, but I do like her. And she was talking about, how can you see the bookend here in between what was happening in 2017 and what's happening now? Well, I certainly can. Right. I certainly can. I've created a little mini entrepreneurial incorporated kingdom of success. And I had nothing back then at all. I had no earnings, no income, and I was running out of savings. So 2017 to now, full on. How are you seeing how you went deep at that time into your soul, into the back garden of all the things you're not conscious of? Again, the Akashic records, the past lives, the family of origin, the ancestral patterns, the childhood wounds, and how are you extricating from them? Because you'll do it again. It's not like it's a one-off. And this time the North Node of Fate is involved in the Pisces corridor, indicating a destined shift at a magnitude that you have not yet seen before. And I'm not going to cover that in any depth, the retrograde especially, because we're going to do a video especially on it and a 6-week course. You want to study with me, it's affordable. Get on the early bird discount wait list below. But when I look at this energy too, of Venus moving through the sign of Aries, just like she did, back in the day, back in 2017, there's a very different factor at play, and that's Chiron. You know, Chiron represents that which is wounded within us. And the last time we had a Chironic wound here, like, you know, was 50 years ago. And this Chironic wound began to happen in 2019. So that's not true to 2017. So this is different. What in 2019, what wound has begun to emerge for healing in your identity? If this is your moon Aries, it could be about how you feel, your relationship to your mother or your home and where you live. And when it comes to your sun, it could be a chronic wound to your career and purpose in life and your motivation to do something, you know, purposeful. And when it comes to your rising sign, it's an identity wound in particular. I am what? I am something. And you are wounded in how you define I am. Like, I'm not an Aries rising, I'm an Aries sun. So I would apply that to my career. But some of you Aries rising may feel an existential wound about how you look, who you are, how the world receives you, how the character shows up in life. So there's a lot going on for all of the Aries in this regard, because Chiron here is trying to heal something. He'll be gone in 2027. He's got a couple more years left. And this is a very important Venus soothing balm to help you recover from some really important undiagnosed, perhaps, chironic wound. Especially pay attention to April 30th to June the 5th, because that's when she is in direct motion and she is also becoming the go-getter. The go-getter grabs what she wants, feisty, super powerful, tomboy version of herself. Yes, an Aries, but morning star. She's a warrior female, Venus, Xena warrior princess. Get your Xena warrior princess going, because this is what you can capture. You can go for it April 30th to June the 5th as she slices through Aries in a feisty spirit, allowing for you to really define your agenda, your identity, your goals. Where are you going? You're going to go with a great gusto after that. When she enters into Aries as well, and again, that's February the 4th, and she's doing her first round till March the 27th, she does go into a heart of the sun star point, and in essence, she resets a button here for you, like a odometer reset on March the 22nd. And that reset button will last for 4 years, but you will notice it most acutely in the first 9.5, 10 months. And it will tell you where you are going to start fresh in some area of your life, in this case that you define for yourself, right? But sun, it can be career, moon, it could be a home. So I'll let you know, do I change my home? You know, because of this reset button, I have a moon here. Do I change my career? I have my sun here. And your rising signs, you can change anything you want. It's a new beginning full of red carpet rollout and supreme Venusian blessings. Again, although it has a 4-year shelf life, you really see the goods of it, the sort of the Cole's notes or the shortcut version. Like you see the elements. She shows you her hand, you know, like a poker hand. She shows you what she's got in the first 10 months of that narrative. Give me a minute. I got to move us forward. Taurus, you're ruled by Venus. So Venus star points, Venus retrogrades, Venus everything matters a lot to you. Oh, let me go back. Eek, Sister Nancy, I catch this mistake. With Mars bossing Venus around from the sign of Cancer, a lot of you, especially moons, especially Aries moons, change of home. Mars is saying we have to fix this. We want to go somewhere new. We want to make a change. We want to travel from home. But changes in the home, from the home, and about the home, connected new beginnings and reset buttons for all Aries. Taurus, sun, moon, and rising. Venus is your Lord. She is your planet. She's the one to pay attention to. She goes into Aries here, where she will be staying for February 4th to March 27th. This is your 12th house. Comes back for a redo April 30th to June the 5th. Now, one of the things about her in this part of the sky, it's very subtle. She likes to be alone here. She wants solitude. She wants downtime. She wants contemplative or introspective time. And so this may compel you to find the joyful pleasures of aloneness more than you normally do. Otherwise, pay attention as well to any kind of money you might be making from far off lands and shores, or an international company that you may work for, okay, or something along those lines. Now, as she's in this part of your sky for such a very long time, she's also connecting to Chiron. And Chiron is that wound that is not being healed or hasn't been healed since 2019. This is very different, therefore, than the 2017 February through to May, end of May, June, early June, when she was doing this big dance between your hopes, dreams, and wishes, Pisces, and career gains and friendship circles, your alone time, your introspection, and your breaking free of what holds you back, your self-undoing. Chiron could literally represent, since 2019, you've been struggling with an addiction or a substance misuse disorder or extremely self-sabotaging behaviors and bad habits. And if that's true, Chiron is working for that healing, especially from the April eclipse in 2024. And now Venus comes in to patch it up. It looks to me like you're going to make a major turning point regarding self-undoing matters. But also, if you work for an international company or make money in long distance ways, this is also an interesting reboot here. One thing about her journey through this part of the sky is she's being bossed around by Mars, and Mars is in the third house of neighbors, neighborhood, younger sibling, online social media, writing projects, learning, skills-based learning and teaching. When I mean skills-based, you're not off getting your doctorate in some area unless, it's really more like I'm going to take a course on how to be a real estate agent or how to repair a tire or how to use a skill, how to learn to knit or pot or be a potter. Some kind of skills-based learning wants to maybe occur here for some of you. And Mars will direct your attention to education or travel. Now, Venus is in a foreign lands and foreign shores place. Mars is in a travel house in general. And maybe some of you will be traveling because of it, particularly abroad, but travel in general. And if that's true, this is a very deep travel because Venus is asking you to assess your deepest dreams, hopes, and wishes for your life because she's come off the Pisces sky. So use that travel as more like a sacred journey. And that is February the 4th to March the 27th, as well as April 30th to June the 5th. Those travel opportunities should be deeper than just Margaritaville. You can use it for a deeper soul search about your long range goals and dreams for what you wish to have happen in your 11th house of good spirit. Now, the other thing I want to mention is that chironically, this wound is definitely going to heal. I mean, it's been under a lot of intensity, but you'll notice how intense Mars is about it as well. Having Mars perfectly square the chironic wound as she's entering into Aries, this is the 5th, but it's on the 4th. It's an indication of a real hard cut, end and sever of some kind of wound that has truly been your own worst enemy type of thing. And you're no longer going to engage in being your own worst enemy. I'm going to get rid of that midheaven here. And in a minute, it doesn't need to be here. And the other thing I'd like to say about this, the last thing I'd like to say is go back, of course, and compare to 2017 and what was going on February to May, but know that the node of fate in the sign of Pisces is changing everything. This is about your destined increase in your gains in your career, whether it's reputation or salary or whatever, a destined increase in career gains, a destined increase of a movement towards what you truly desire in life in a way that's only it happens every 18 years. And this combination, 1858. So it's exciting. Let me know how it goes, Taurus. And I'm going to get rid of all of the unnecessary paraphernalia. We don't need the ascendant, the descendant. We don't need any of this. What am I doing? Why is this stuff in here? Okay, done. I cleaned up the clutter. Moving on to the next sign. All right, Gemini, sun, moon, and rising sign. It's definitely a story that you need to pay attention to because Venus is doing a sort of dance in the sky. Oh, well, anyway, that she has not done since 2017. That would be like February to early June. We're back again. And the dance is simply a long time in your 10th house of career and reputation and your goals for success. And your 11th house of your long-term wishes, goals, and dreams for your life, as well as the direct gains of your career, as well as allies and benefactors and people who wish to help you, as well as your sibling one older than you. Now, back in the day, back in March, February, March, April, May 17, it wasn't quite the same. Nothing ever is, most particularly the North Node of Fate in your 10th house. And the North Node of Fate in your 10th house is indicating destined career changes, amplification, and increase. And Venus is complicit with that in a way she hasn't been since 1858. So that's exciting because she keeps coming in and out of Pisces, right? And go back and get the screenshot for the beginning of the video and with the time frames. And I think with her in your 11th house, the understanding is that she's going to be here for such a very, very long time, you know, February 4th to March 27th, and then April 30th to June the 5th, with a reset button on March the 22nd called a star point or a solar conjunction. You're resetting your deepest dreams, goals, and wishes for your life. At the same time, you're resetting the career gains. And if you reset the way the career gains come to you, you're resetting some of the career itself. You can look at this reset button. It begins, you know, on the star point of March the 22nd and unfolding, you know, over the course of 10 months when you see the goods of it, or you see the Cole's notes or the structure of it as some changes in the way you're making your career successes happen. Chiron is here, and this is a house of friendships. You may have felt like the outsider in your groups of friends, like you don't belong. You may have been feeling this outsider energy, this outcast energy, this non-belongingness since 2019. I've been going through a big time with this. I don't like small talk. I don't like gossip. I like friends and groups of friends who talk about ideas. And I'm finding that some of my older groups of friends are not that. And so this has been also the outcast for me because I'm a Gemini progressed sun. During the pandemic, where I wasn't allowed to go socialize with anyone anyway because of my non-compliance with non-safe medical procedures. So bottom line is that you're going to have some kind of shift of the chironic wound. So if you've always felt like you're not belonging to your tribe and you don't really feel like your group is your group, if that's been something you're coping with since 2019, or your career gains are great but not like on purpose for you in a deep way, then that's about to change. And you'll look for the next 10 months after the star point on March 22nd in Aries to really help you change that up, to turn that narrative around for you. And it'll be happening at 2 degrees of Aries. It's just FYI, but I'll be doing that in my Venus retrograde class. I hope you'll sign up. Check the more button. There's an early bird discount wait list. It's 6 weeks long. It's going to be super affordable. Put your name on the list. If you don't like the price point, then don't come, but it's under $100. Okay, so I haven't decided yet, but I want to be fair to myself because I'm dedicating 6 weeks live with people. And so my time is important to me. So yeah, check it out. You know, Mars is ruling this whole Venus Aries storyline, and he's all about the money, honey. He's like, let's spend it, save it, let's change it, let's be a self-starter. He's in your second house. Let's cut away the old false values around money, worth, and possessions. Let's add some spicy new values. Let's be very fiercely protective of the money we already have. So Mars is really about the money, the earnings, the resources, and he's telling Venus, we got to figure this out because it's about career and it's about career earnings as well. So a lot of the star point shifts those variables for you. And you'll find this is true. When you look back June and July and August as time progresses through till early next year, you'll see that hindsight will be the teacher. You'll look back and go, wow, I changed some serious ways I make money. If you're like, you know, maybe you were self-employed, you'll get a job. Maybe you have a job, you'll be self-employed. You're going to make changes. Changes are going to happen, or changes happen to you, right? North Node, Saturn, 10th house, destined changes in the structure and form of your career. I know you're retired. Destined changes in the forms of how you do things in the world that you would like to be successful, whatever you do in a non-working environment. Cancer, sun, moon, and rising. So first of all, Mars has been in your sign for a long time. I'm not going to go back and delineate it in a great detail. Go watch my Mars videos. But, you know, you're going through a very rare, not seen since 77, 78 Mars hangout. September, October, Mars in the sign of Cancer. Mars back in Cancer, December 6th to April 18th. And you're going to go, oh, you got it. I mean, Mars back in Cancer, January 6th to April 18th. So you had that back in 77, 78 in the same way we're having now with the retrograde from the earnings house. You're going through major decisions in your life about money, earnings, value, and self-worth, and what you want to do, including changing your dietary style if needed. And as Mars is doing this story with you, as you, through you, because you're part of who he is right now, your decision-making power, action-taking power is amplified, particularly February 23rd onward to about April 18th when he's in direct motion. All that said, it's important to understand that Venus is in your Aries 10th house under direction from Mars in the sign of you. So you're giving the instructions to Venus with Mars's help. Now, Venus would like to make your career space good, bonify it, make it like, my reputation's great, my career is great, I'm doing so well, I'm loving it up here, you know, that vibe. And yet there's some complications, especially that chironic wound. Are you feeling off purpose in career? Are you having a hard time pinning the tail on the purpose donkey? I think you maybe have that question mark about truer purpose ever since 2019, as Chiron either wounded your reputation or gave you a wound around purpose in career alignment. Now, Venus will be in the sign of Aries from February 4th to March the 27th, back again thanks to retrogradation, April 30th to June the 5th. This is where you're really focused on really getting this purposeful career thing down and getting it right, and maybe having some success that you don't expect, because Venus brings success where she goes, and she's in the high noon and people are liking you and your career can go very, very, very well. And because Mars is in your pocket, it's your actions and your decisions and your directionality that make it happen. Tell Venus what to do up there. Certainly she can bring raises, promotions, and upgrades and more success. And females in power can be very helpful to you in work settings. Because she is also going to come into the heart of the sun, star pointing, on the 22nd of March at 2 Aries in your 10th house, she's going to unfold in the 10 months that follow a reset button. And a reset button can take up to 4 years to completely show up, but it's definitely going to have major hinge activity in the first 10 months or so. She's like she's pregnant with a new story for your career, and you'll be making career changes most likely that are very auspicious and very positive, starting on that 22nd of March, 2 degrees Aries star point, through to the beginning of 2026. And I think you're going to get rid of that chironic wound about purpose, because, you know, basically Mars is in a perfect square to Chiron, and boom, let's cut, end, and sever. Let's make decisions and take actions to get on purpose, to feel aligned, to restore or repair my reputation, has it been damaged, you know, and to get back into a good place in life. And with the North Node for the first time in your 9th house since 1858, you know, colliding with Venus on and off, it's also about destined dharma, destiny to move towards the deepest purpose possible. And just for a few of you, guides, mentors, coaches, and or life coaches, business coaches, and or going back to educate yourself are all possibilities that may spin out of this time. And you might go back to 2017, you know, February through to, you know, June, and then you know, all the way through, you know, for that 10-month rollout, you know, through to the, you know, early spring of 2018, how your career things may have shifted. My sister Nancy is a Cancer rising. She's my time-stamping sister. She retired from nursing the last time this happened, in a hospital after 30 years. So major changes are coming, and this one has more of an alignment with deep purpose and maybe a desire to educate. All right, Leo, sun, moon, and rising sign. I'm going to just pause this and let my girlfriend know I'm a little slower than I thought I would be to get down to the beach. We're on Leo, guys, just in case you're wondering what's next. Oh, where did it go? Am I recording? Yeah. Leo, sun, moon, and rising sign. So bottom line, Venus back in 2017, you know, spring, February to like early June, was kind of dancing between the signs of Pisces and Aries. And these two signs are like kind of like your house of chunky money, inheritance money, money from shared resources with a spouse, separation of assets, investment monies. This passive income is here too. And Venus was in your 8th house and in your 9th house. And this longer story is back again with a note of fate, making it qualitatively different, very different indeed. Okay, so this is something you haven't quite experienced before and will not experience again in this lifetime. So there's a need for you to understand that what Venus wants to do when she's in your 8th house is bring you money and wealth and financial goodness, other than that, a secret love affair. And she's basically, coming off of Pisces and moving into Aries on February 4th through to March 1st. And again, February 1st to March the 27th, and back again in the sign of Aries, April 30th to June the 5th. And if you want to consider, and that's retrograde stuff, and if you want to consider it this way, how can your money be useful to you in a way that allows you to align with a deeper purpose in life, or go back to school or go to higher educational settings to find a deeper vocational, purposeful path? Or for some of you, using chunky money in order to travel the world, or to get a visa or a passport thing fixed up, or to maybe find a spiritual path that you really adhere to, a path of spiritual philosophy or religious belief. These are areas where Venus is traveling when she's in your 9th house, Aries. You could very well look at Chiron as a wound that you've been experiencing since 2019. About meaning of life, purpose, dharma, educational pursuits, vocation and education, foreign lands, even a wound with a father figure in the 9th house. And as Venus moves through here again, now, as I said, February 4th to March 27th, and later April 30th to June the 5th, there's some healings that are taking place. Some ends of the chironic wound in that 9th house, trying to emerge Chiron 2019 to 27 in your 9th house. Venus is definitely a benefic, and she is going to liberate herself 3 times in your house of chunky money. I'm not going to go into that here. That'll be in my course. If you want to take my Venus course, hit the more button, 6 weeks live with me, and get on the early bird wait list. But all I'll say is that this 8th house energy is financial with Venus here. And so there's some money coming. As a grandparent passing, Saturn represents the elder. So there's some kind of financial gain that could come up for some of you Leos. That's pretty like a chunk of money off of this cycle. It wasn't quite the same in 2017 spring, because we didn't have the North Node. So I don't know if it's going to compare, but there might be micro comparisons there. Mars is the boss of Venus, and Mars is busy as all heck, bossing her around from the 12th house of backroom deals and negotiations, and your inner solitude and decisions you make while you're alone and contemplating what you want. And also the house of addictions and self-undoing. If you have a hidden secret addiction, this is going to help you clear it out. And Venus will try to bring the results like a red carpet rollout from what we call a Venus conjunction to the sun, also known as a star point. And as she co-joins the sun on March the 22nd at 2 degrees of Aries in your 9th house, she initiates a 10-month red carpet rollout. Are you going to go back to school, travel the world? Are you going to get some kind of financial gain from a father figure? Are you going to align with purpose? Are you going to join a church? I don't know. Going to find a teacher, guide, or mentor that's your perfect person to help you navigate life, even a life coach or business coach. Now, one thing about it is that the Venus star point at 2 degrees of Aries, rolling out that fresh beginning, last seen this kind of retrograde star point back in 2017. It's going to really impact Leos in the first, let's say, 6 degrees of Leo, very importantly, more intensely, right? But all Leos will feel it, but it impacts you in a positive way. And you're like, bring it, take it, I'll take it. Feels good to me. Thank you. Virgo, sun, moon, and rising sign. Well, let's start at the beginning of this story. If you went back to 2017, 18, like I suggested in the intro, this would be like spring of 17, February to end of May, and then rolling out a red carpet through to, early 2018. This is the kind of vibe that has returned again. Venus is going to be in this dance between the signs of Aries and the signs of Pisces. Pisces is your house of significant long-term love. North node of fate, not here with Venus is 2000 and Saturn and Neptune, all of those three, especially, well, it's really at Saturn, Venus, North Node, all tripartite 1858, line up there. What I say about this is that you want to do something extraordinary vis-a-vis an exalted Venus in long-term love. This looks like for a lot of couples that already exist, we're going to move in, commit, get married, get engaged, have a celebration, have a wedding, plan for it. Those are exalted Venus, seventh house matters. And she's going to lift an old existing relationship up to a higher level of connection, higher love, sacred love, deeper love, profound spiritual connection. If you're single, you can meet somebody. If you're a single Virgo, this is a beautiful energy where she can bring you a partner of destiny. Now, she's been here already in February, and she's going to be back again, during the retrograde transit, etc. So I'm not going to dive into that. It'll be in my Venus class if you want to come aboard and do my Venus retrograde course with me. So in the meantime, let's go ahead with the story here. Venus is asking you to consider receiving money that doesn't require you to work. She's a receptive evening star in the beginning of this journey. How can you receive money so that you're not in a super hustle of some sort? As one way to interpret Venus in your 8th house. And she'll be in your Aries 8th house, February 4th to March 27th. She'll be back again April 30th to June 5th, but then she'll be her go-getter. So her receptive side is the first part of it. So there may be the ability to receive some financial compensation. It could be like money from a lawsuit, money from an inheritance, money from a spousal separation, money from an investment in the markets or something like that. And you can receive that energy of that money given this story. Retirement funds belong to the 8th house too. And that you've invested, that you've tucked away in different strategies. And so Venus here is very positive for those sorts of matters in your chart. When you join my Venus retrograde class, I hope you do. I'll teach you a little bit more how to look at this from your own sign. She does rule your earnings house as well, but she's in the chunky money house. And so there's a lot going on the financial access for you during this Venus storyline. You have a chironic wound in the 8th house. It could be a chironic wound around inheritance money since 2019, where Chiron has been traveling. And, I can use my daughter as an example. She received a small inheritance from her grandma, and she trashed it and spent it all in a summer. And now she felt wounded by that choice. She's a Virgo rising. Like, well, I should have saved it. Of course she should have saved it, but she was, young. She was 18 or something. So how are you guys looking at chunky money wounds, spousal separation, shared monies with your spouse and feeling wounded since 2019? I have another Virgo friend who finally, she and her guy have been healing this rift between keeping their money separate after 8 years, not really consolidating finances or sharing resources and even inheritances. I mean, we figure out how to share the money, their common law. So that's just been being healing in the last year. A lot of chironic wounds around shared resources, unearned income, investment money, inheritances, on and on and on. This has been true since maybe 2019. Now, having Venus here is going to be helpful for the closing of the wound. And so consider that by the time June 5th happens and she's done with Aries, you might have figured out the final solution, the perfect band-aid here. Venus is being commanded or bossed around by Mars in your 11th house of career gains, money, reputation, and success and finances from your career versus the chunky money, the resilient money, the inheritance money, the retirement funds. There's a square. Mars wants Venus to do something different. He's bossing her around. And you may make some decisions around finances regarding your long-range dreams, plans, and goals and visions for your life based on Mars having you make decisions and take actions during this Venus transit through the sign of Aries. She comes into a conjunction with the Sun, a Venus star point, on March the 22nd at 2 degrees of Aries. It's going to activate a certain amount of intensity here around a reset button that rolls out for 10 months after March 22nd to reset the way you handle the 8th house money Could be a new account, new tax structures, maybe consolidating your money with a significant other into one big pot. I don't know what it is. Maybe you're going through a separation and it's about separating the money and rolling it out over 10 months about how that's going to be accomplished. But it's a 10-month red carpet rollout and things should go well for you. So keep in mind, it's not negative. It's actually quite positive. And if you ever want to have passive income, like book royalty income or ad income, those more passive investment incomes, dividend incomes, those monies can come off the 8th house of shared resources, and share the resources with the publisher, with the investment company, the company you invested in. So those are other possibilities as well for you, that you're going to reset some of the financial funds to be more derivative or passive in your life and not so much regarding working with the earnings. And I'm not going to say you're going to get an inheritance, but you can definitely get an inheritance out of this as well. Libra, sun, moon, and rising. Well, this takes you back to an energy of Venus back and forth between the house of significant long-term love and your 6th house of work and pets and debts and rental situations and all of that. Your work and work routines, health and health routines. And basically Venus tried to shape you up here back in 2017, spring, February to June. And maybe you remember some shifts in that part of your life, but not with the North Node here. That's more like the 1858 story. So the North Node of fate with Neptune, Venus, and all of this intensity in your 6th house is giving you a massive change in your work. Some of you may really shift career paths altogether, because with Mars in your 10th house, looking down at your 6th house and also directing Venus in your 7th, there's a lot going on about changes of your career direction. You may actually change not just jobs, but whole career paths in the wake of this spring's Venus activity. And by the time you get to the early part of 2026, be looking in the rearview mirror at not just a change of job, but a change of profession or career itself. You don't have a career, a change of what you do in your retirement that is completely different than anything anyone has seen you do before. Okay. It's good for changing health as well in ways you've never considered. So you have better health. And Mars is a ruler, by the way, of what you put in your mouth. So major dietary changes could be on the horizon coming off of this energy. Venus being in Aries in particular is your house of relationship with a significant other. If there's been a wound about me and my business partner, me and my audience, and me and my significant long-term love partner, Venus is going to help clinch and band-aid that wound up permanently. Let's sew it together. Let's stitch it up. This is a wound that you've been in and out of aggravation with since 2019. Venus is the healing balm. She represents nurses, FYI, in the ancient tradition. She's going to nurse the wound away, or you're with a significant other who is wounded and their wounds will heal. Now, when Venus is here, of course, the dates are important, and she'll be here February 4th to March the 27th. But she comes back again as we're go-getter morning star, March the 30th to June the 5th. The first part is how can you receive the benefits of long-term committed love, partnerships, new significant partnerships, business partners, and really relate to an audience and be receptive, where she'll be more active and fiery pursuit in a yang way, April 30th to June the 5th. Legal contracts belong to the 7th house. Mars is cutting and severing in the 10th. You may be breaking and breaching employment contracts to go for something new. Certainly, Venus will bless you in the 6th house of work, and blessed new work opportunities are available to you. She will be back in Pisces, as I mentioned. She has to be. She's retrograding. And so she'll be back in Pisces, March 27th through to about April 30th. And that could be a golden time for you for a new job or a new career blessing coming your way. And when it comes to health, Venus wants you to have pleasurable pursuits that bring better health in destined faded ways. And Mars says, cut out the food that's not good for you, or the substances that go in your mouth that you shouldn't be using, or your nose, face. All right. Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising sign. Well, let's begin, Scorpio, with the most important part of the story. Venus is in Aries and in Pisces, like she was in 2017, like February through to early June. Again, February to early June, Venus is toggling back and forth between your 5th house and your 6th house. Fifth house matters are romance and sexuality and procreativity and creativity, including entrepreneurial or artistic pursuits. She can bless you here. My son, Scorpio rising, had his first sort of viral hit on TikTok while Venus was traveling exalted through his fifth house. So that's exciting. And she's going to liberate herself here a few times from some enclosures. And so that's exciting too. So definitely come check out under the more button on this video, get on the early bird waitlist for my Venus class. I think you'll have a blast. 6 weeks live replays available as I help you navigate this very rare version of a Venus retrograde. March 30th, add 6 weeks as the class. I like this energy for you a lot if you're trying to conceive a child. The North Node of fate, destiny, expansion in the house of conception. Saturn, it'll take time, don't give up. Neptune, wishes come true. It's a good vibe for you guys. And, Venus keeps going into this part of your sky. Like, although she spent most of February here, she keeps going in and out, back and forth. And so therefore, March 27th until the 30th of April, she's there. And that's a nice conception window. It's nice for romance. It's great for meeting a destined soulmate twin flame. For single Scorpios, this is a great one for meeting your divine complement, super, destined partner. So go dating and have fun. The Aries part of the sky, though, is work. And, you're trying to find chironic healing. Maybe you felt wounded in the work area since 2019. You're not on your purpose. You've got a job. You're not doing, you feel like it's duty drudgery. Your indentured servitude is here. And, this is like, oh gosh, Venus says, how can I help? Can I nurse the wound? She represents the nurse energy. Can I nurse this wound? Can we get rid of it? Can we band-aid it up? Maybe just really close it up. So this is exceptional because back in 2017, Chiron wasn't giving you a wound in the workhouse, and now their wound can be healed. Also, a problem in your health that's bothered you since 2019, that can be healed. But certainly both of those are true. And so you're looking at some profound work alignment healing and or healing of a chironic wound. And while she's in this part of your sky, February 4th to March 27th and April 30th to June the 5th, you also must note that Mars is bossing her around from your 9th house of dharma, purpose, and meaning. If anything, this is like get in alignment with your work and purpose, make the two become one, right? Work and purpose can be fused. Use your unique talents and gifts and find the purpose in life. Or your creative projects suddenly lead to new work opportunities, or your entrepreneurial business suddenly takes off in international ways. These are all many ways this could take off for you. The star point is happening on March 22nd at 2 Aries, a reset button. In the 10 months that follows, March 22nd, look for a new beginning and a fresh start with luck and opportunity unfolding for career and work matters, health matters, pets, and rental property opportunities. You got an inheritance transit. Jupiter is in your 8th house, sidebar, but Venus will sextile him when she gets to the 10th degree and stations there February 23rd to March the 8th. Some of you might be coming into some money through family legacy wealth. Now, if you take my Venus class, you'll get a lot more content than this, quickie video, which isn't so quick, is it? Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're listening in the live premiere, and watch and hit that notification bell. Sagittarius, sun, moon, and rising. Venus is traveling through the sky, and she's spending a lot of time in your 4th and 5th house, home and creativity, home and romantic sexual love, home and children, home and procreativity, the home base, and your creative artistic pursuits and entrepreneurial pursuits. That's the vibe, home and those 5th house matters. It's a little bit like February through to June of 2017, but it's also different in many ways. One of the big things going on here is Venus is exalting your home and breaking free of some malefic enclosures, some breakthroughs and break frees in the home life for you, maybe a change of home, a new rental property home, new chance to rent out a home. There's a lot of intensity here. This seems quite positive, but it also can be Venus wants to exalt you in the home and break free of things that have held you back, where you're melancholic, lonely, alone, isolated, or you have maybe, an elder in the home, and that's been hard for you to nurture the elder in the home, something like that. Well, there's a breaking free going on here this year. here. And you're going to feel that already in February, that breaking free in the home, as well as you'll feel that, of course, when Venus goes back into Pisces again, March 27th to April 30th. There's this freedom you need to experience in the home setting. Oh, that's why I'm calling my Venus course Liberate. Check it in the description box. Get on the early bird waitlist for that live course. The fifth house Venus is very good for luck. She's in the house of her joy, in a luck house, especially money luck. Coming into some money, winning some money could happen with this transit. You have a Chironic wound in the house of sexual romantic love, Chironic wounds with your children, Chironic wounds with money luck. You even feel it, speculation, investments in the stock markets. Not a lot of luck has been here since 2019. Your speculative gambles haven't paid off, but now they can turn around and you might be lucky in love, lucky in investments, lucky in gambling, lucky in pregnancy and fertility and romance, and lucky in creativity. All the luck is here for you. Venus in her joy in a luck house. Venus is significantly well placed here by this being the house of her joy. Now, she'll be here, February 4th to March 27th, and then she'll be here back again, back again, April 30th to June the 5th. So those are your lucky zones. Chiron is helping you heal the wound, the romantic wound, the sex wound, the wound with your children. I reiterated that. And this is really the nurse coming in to help Chiron heal the wound, suture you up. And she's being bossed around by Mars in your chunky money house. That's also money you share through your, I'm married and my spouse and I share our money, or you're separated and how you separate the assets. I'm not going to lie. I mean, Jupiter can bring blessed endings and Mars could be separating assets in an existing relationship. So there may be some blessings and blessed endings and separation of marital assets for divorce and separation for some. Others, you may be going through a time of making major life decisions connected to how you want to have that long-range retirement money operate, and maybe you might want to buy or sell real estate under this particular thing, with great luck with mortgages and banking and getting what you need and want. And this is true, but not just for a short term, but it's true certainly through the spring. And Venus is like in that fifth house. So there's a really big breaking away from secrets hidden regarding sex and romance. I don't know what it is, but you may cut through some kind of fog to clear something in a relationship, or about how you participate in romantic and sexual relationships based on childhood patterning. All right. And the Venus star point happens 2 degrees of Aries, kaboom, a new beginning and a reset in love, romance, fertility, enjoyment and creativity and entrepreneurial life. If you're single, any Venus star point can bring you a new love. Maybe it did in 2017 through to spring of 18, but it's going to do it again here. The 17-18 one was not accompanied by the North Node of Fate in your fourth house or Chironic wound to be healed. So it's very different, very different. But I would say simply, singletons looking for love, yay. Okay, new beginning, reset button. In a relationship already, it could reset the relationship because your star points in a sextile to Jupiter, but it could also end the relationship. The healing can go either way, to end the sexual romantic long-term love or to start it afresh on a new terminology and new terms of service, either one. But it's a Venus-Jupiter story, so it will be blessed endings or blessed resets for new beginnings in those sorts of love stories. Capricorn, sun, moon, and rising sign. First off, you had Venus here in 2017-18, and now she's back. Venus in 2017 and 18 moving through the houses of like 2017 spring, but completing the star point by spring of 18. There's this energy about what's going on in your fourth house of home and land and domestic private life and the house you live in and the people you live within, including real estate transactions. Fourth house matters, where she's going to spend a lot of time. That's the Aries zone of the sky. As I said, February 4th to March 27th. And then April 30th to June the 5th. Now, in her fourth house storyline, she's healing a Chironic wound. Let's start there. The wound wasn't here in 2017-18. It's about the wound of where I belong. I don't belong to my tribe, my home, my homeland. I don't belong to the place I live. My living belongingness is disrupted since 2019, feeling like the outsider, the outcast, or simply not belonging. And healing the wound of the mother and the mother relationship in your life since 2019. Now, Venus would like to nurse this wound and make it go away. And therefore, the home wound and the mother wound and the belonging wound and the domestic private life wound could be coming to a close. And the closure of the wound, is available, February 4th to March 27th, April 30th to June the 5th. But she's also under directions from Mars in the marriage house, where Mars is cutting, ending, and severing significant long-term love relationships, or decisions are being made about them and actions must be taken. Some of you may make some changes of home connected to changes in the relationship, or maybe changes in your job opportunities as well, because Mars rules your 11th house, that change your home as well through legal contracts connected to allies and benefactors like big bros and sisters who help you with your work or getting a new career opportunity coming up. That's your 11th house. Mars is bossing around Venus down there. So home changes can be professionally oriented, or the end or beginnings, decisions being made in collaboration with a significant other, or because of fractures in those relationships with others. Jupiter's in the house of rentals, and Venus will star point in concert with Jupiter. So a new rental opportunity or new pet opportunity or new job and home opportunity emerging on March 22nd on the star point. Add 10 months for it to fully reveal itself. Okay, it takes up to 10 months for the star point to fulfill itself. The North Node of fate and destiny and Venus in your third house, it's a travel house, it's a learning house, it's a sibling house, it's neighbors and neighborhood, changes and destined changes in neighborhood, destined travel opportunities connected to work. These are important themes that are ongoing for you during this time. There's a way in which the North Node keeps hemming in Venus in your third house called a malefic enclosure. And there'll be one in the first week of April in which you may find that there's necessary travel or necessary changes in relationship to siblings or aunts, uncles, cousins, nieces, and nephews. But it may also connect you to changes in your home. And the constriction may just simply be the hardship of, having to navigate those changes. Keep that in mind. If you're a writer, a communicator, a social media beast, this is intensely positive for some of you because Venus keeps exalting you in Pisces, and she'll be exalting you in Pisces for all of March 27th through to April 30th. So that's a great time to launch a website, launch a business, minus the first 7 days of April when she is enclosed between a rock and a hard place, potentially. And always compare 2017 spring through to the beginning of 2018 for the changes you made in your home. 17, 18, what were you doing? What changes in the home happened? I believe I know a Capricorn who sold the marital home in 2017 and moved to California sometime in 2018. It all folds out from a change of home, connected in that case to a marital end. So there's examples for people to consider here. And my ex-husband is a Capricorn rising, and in 2017, 18, I'm trying to remember, I'm just trying to give you examples for different people that I know. That was the beginning of a new relationship with a woman who moved into his home. So you see what I mean? Those examples are there for you. All right. So who's currently his wife? He doesn't mind if I talk about him on my channel. I've asked. Thanks everybody for asking me if I know who it's safe to. Does your son know that you mentioned he has ADD? First of all, he's a 35-year-old man. He's a flying F that he cares who thinks he does or doesn't have ADHD. But yes, of course, I will only talk about people generally without their name and address and, telephone number, because I know that they don't mind. Thank you for trying to pester me with that. Some people ask me that all the time. Like, what is your problem? It's my channel. Yes, they're fine with it. Aquarius, sun, moon, and rising sign. I am one of you. I'm a rising. Go back to 2017 spring, February to June, what unfolded there, and then, kind of completed itself by the spring of 2018 as a signature of a Venus star point. Let's go back and cover the details. This is exceptionally different than anything we've seen before. You cannot compare it. North Node energy cannot compare because of, the Chironic wound. We can't compare. So that's the first thing I want you to know, but it's similar. Venus is exalting your earnings house all of February. She comes back and exalt, because all the actions, second house, third house, she comes back and exalts your earnings house, back again on March 27th to April the 30th. Those longer stays in Pisces are unusual, and the North Node amplifies your money, amplifies your resources, brings destined increase in your earnings and money. That's true for 18 months, but we're talking about this Venus story. So an exalted increase of your financial well-being is a story that you had in 17, 18. I sure did. Sold an investment property, sold some real estate. It was exciting. I got some money that I didn't have, and it was really useful to me at the time. What could you be doing to receive money in chunky, exciting ways as well? Make it chunky just because of the South Node alignment to the North Node. Any kind of financial increase is possible here. At the same time, Venus keeps getting enclosed in your second house. So watch for the first 7 days of April, April 24th, for some financial constraint or financial consolidation. I'm not sure what it'll look like. I'm investigating this malefic enclosure to see if it's helpful or harmful to people, and I'll let you know because I'm taking notes as I look at clients and myself. Venus moving into your Aries sky February 4th all the way through to March 27th, but back again April 30th to June the 5th. This is a lot of Aries and a lot of Venus, really full of excitement, really full of luck and joy and opportunity for writing, teaching and learning and traveling, online world, websites, social media platforms, success. Chironic wound of not belonging to this world, chironic wound around writing, chironic wound around neighbors and neighborhood and younger sibling relationship. This is healed. Venus is a nurse. She's coming to Chiron to patch the wound, a little hydrogen peroxide, a little bit of a super duper band-aid. Everything's all better, I hope, right now. We're going to heal that wound. The chironic wound in writing is being healed right now. For me, I started the Substack Chronicles, Pluto Substack Chronicles at Substack. Join me there. But that is also part of the eclipse of April, right? There's an eclipse that's also activated this healing, and Venus is like tending the final details of the healing. You may have some chironic energies that you need to look at, like go back to 2019 when Chiron entered here, chironic wounds around your neighbors, neighborhood, and traveling. I've had some serious neighborhood problems, neighbor problems, constraints on travel, writer's block. You too can compare notes. What's been stuck for you there? Because it's getting definitely unstuck here. Now, the North Node is definitely going to expand your money in connection to the social media and in connection to the writing and connection to the traveling and teaching and learning. So they're interconnected. 2017, I made the first time ever money in the online world teaching an online class. I made $4,000 and I was blown away, and I made it donation only because I had never asked for money online before, right? For something I created. So that's going to be back as a bookend. Getting a job in a local neighborhood store, launching a brick and mortar business, starting a new website, starting a new teaching project, learning project are all 2 thumbs up by Venus. She will be taking orders from Bossy Mars in the workhouse, work and social media work and travel work and learning. And also don't forget the activation of the second house, work and money. So those are all the themes that we need to look at. But if you have anything in your dietary style that you shouldn't be eating, I lost the screen, there's Venus expanding and exalting, but constraining your food style, while Mars in your 6th house is saying, and let's bring good work, let's bring good food, let's bring good work and food together. So work and food style. There's a really good chance that some of you could completely turn around a dietary style. Like you've always been vegan, but now you're a meat eater, or vice versa. Big changes are coming, and decisions and actions around food style are pivotal for you over the next few months. I do want to say, though, that Venus star point is happening. It is happening at exactly 2 degrees of Aries, right here. And it's happening on March 22nd. And it's a red carpet rollout of success and change in your 3rd house. And some of you may change your neighborhood where you live. Some of you may make significant changes to your online social media life, your teaching or learning priorities and your travel and travel plans. But it's a new beginning. It's a red carpet rollout. It's a reset button. So in 2017's version, the star point led me to travel to Bali, and that was a major turning point in how I earned money. Travel led to increase. I took a course on how to get rid of my shadow work around financial wealth and money not being an evil. So consider that you're really healing a lot about money as well. And some of it may be through a teacher, a guide, or mentor, Chiron, and travel, or online learning as well. Or you're the teacher and you're really killing it financially in how you mentor, guide, and teach others. All right, last but not least is Pisces, sun, moon, and rising sign. Oops, Pisces, you just disappeared. Let me put you back. We had a spinning wheel going on here. All right, I'll get you back shortly and we'll finish up. Venus and, oh, okay. This is not me. This is the software literally taking control without my permission. I cannot believe it's just spinning out of control. All right. Pisces, sun, moon, and rising sign. First of all, you do have Venus moving through the signs of both you, and your second house in a way you haven't had before, because the North Node is here. That happened in 1858 with Venus and Neptune and the North Node, and it's rare. So you're changing in a destined way, unlike anything you've ever seen before. And Venus says, what do you want to be? Because it's the I am house. And your beingness is determined by your values, your desires for what you want to have. So aligning the being part of you with the having part of you is a part of your story. And havingness can be, I have friends in my life. I have luck in my life. You don't have to have objects. It's what you want to have as a sort of like a way of being. It's like, how do you blend having and being into one thing, right? To really ponder that with destined expansion of your identity and fated changes in your life that bring you solidity, and some of your dreams come true, Saturn and Neptune, in exalted ways. So Pisces is an exciting time for you. And this Venus in Aries begins February the 4th to the 27th of March. And she comes back into Aries because of the retrograde cycle, April 30th to June the 5th. So there's a lot about your money, earnings, possessions, and worth and wealth that you're focused on. And Chiron's wounded you in the money, earnings, wealth, and resources part of your chart in some ways since 2019, or in your food style, or in your face. You don't like your teeth, your nose, your face, wounds to the face, wounds to your food style and what you ingest, wounds to your earnings and money. These are meanings of the 5th house. And those are going to be healed by Nurse Venus. She's like a nurse. And she comes in to help Chiron. And you're going to get a great Band-Aid, and you're going to get the perfect sutures to fix the problem, even that nose job, if that's what you're looking for. But whatever it is, it's here. And Venus is definitely going to provide wealth. She will increase your financial wellness because you figured out how to be I am, I have. I am beautiful and I have abundance or something. I am kind and I have, I don't know, I'm worthy of wealth. Work it out. Your I have and your I am are trying to merge in the sky with destined intersections for your financial well-being. The Chironic wound 2019 to 2027 is mending. Your resource and earning stories are healing now. Okay, many ways it could heal. Venus is a ruler of your chunky money, spousal amounts for support, inheritance money, money from investments, money from some other place, but there's even money from real estate property sales, money from legacy wealth from family of origin. There's ways money can heal. It doesn't have to be about always just making the money, but you're having some financial wellness, some healing going on here. Now, there's certain timeframes to pay attention to. Venus is back in your sign again, March 27th to April 30th, right? She was there in February. She's enclosed between malefics for the first 7 days of April. It may feel a little constrictive then, and also April 24th. Come take my class of all signs you should be in, my Venus retrograde class that starts March 1st, 6 weeks live with me. Get on the early bird discount wait list. It's going to be under $100. It's very affordable. I just haven't set the price or set the sales page up because I'm on vacation in Mexico when I'm doing this video. And I also would encourage you with this kind of a sky, right? With that second house Venus narrative, to really leapfrog off the star point Venus joins the sun here the way she did in 2017 in the money story with a lot of different stories. But how did you reset your financial story? If you did, 2017 March through to about 10 months after that. Because again, March the 22nd, add 10 months after that, there's a reset button in your financial well-being, your facial appearance, or your food style. And Mars is bossing around Venus from the house of joy, enjoyment, competition, speculation, gambling, your children. You may make some financial changes connected to entrepreneurial business strategies, creative projects. You may be changing some financial matters in connection to a child in your life, especially an adult child. Maybe there's going to be a financial collaboration with an adult child, maybe some support from an adult child or a support to an adult child. I'm not sure, but there's things connected to children and money all embedded here as well. Now, Mars is telling Venus what to do, and he's also telling Chiron what to do. And Mars is very fiercely protective mother bear in the fifth house. So you may have some mother bear fierce protective energies amplified for you on behalf of a child during this cycle, especially well, she's in Aries, as I said, February 4th to March 27th or April 30th to June the 5th. Creative and entrepreneurial storylines are A+ for you. You can really thrive and grow and expand financially by doing art, creativity, creative projects, going entrepreneurial, getting a side hustle going, starting your own business. Those are all highly sanctioned. The star point turnaround at 2 degrees of Aries is important, but also Venus will station for a long time, February 23rd to March the 8th at 10 degrees of Aries. And that's going to activate February 23rd to March 8th, a lot of Jupiter story. A lot of direct motion Jupiter in your fourth house, indicating luck, opportunity, financially connected to something you're doing about land, property, real estate, or in and from the home, February the 23rd to March the 8th. So that's what I've got for you. Certainly let me know how it goes, Pisces. You're going through a once in a lifetime kind of transformation of self-worth, possessions, I have, healing a wound around financial matters and facial matters and food style matters that you haven't seen. When I say food style, it can be anything, guys. It can be an addiction, everything to, I got to stop eating gluten, but changing your diet is definitely a part of what could happen in this storyline. Dietary style, I call it. All right. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to like, subscribe, everyone. Hit that notification bell. I'll be back from vacation and I'll get you back to my regular setting. I'm recording this for my Patreon on January 29th. You guys will be getting this on Sunday, the 2nd of February. Buckle up. It's Venus in Aries. It's exciting and it's very, very cool because it's so darn rare. Ciao. The cycle is so darn rare. Ciao, everyone.